There's a wonderful book called The Divine Right of Capital, which is not in the book because I didn't know about it. But I actually used a metaphor late in the book. I wrote, future economic historians will look back, wryly on this period in which, something like, I should have found it in the book and read it. But we'll look back wryly on this period in which we look down on our ancestors for believing in the divine right of kings while we believe in the divine right of capital. And so one of my readers sent me an email saying, are you familiar with Marjorie Kelly's book, The Divine Right of Capital? And one of the things that she wrote in there, which I just never really even thought about, I just took for granted. She said, look, our financial statements tell us how to think about relationship between businesses and their workers. Encoded in financial statements, we kind of go, okay, yeah, the profit is the revenue minus the costs, right? But then that got restated somehow that's actually capital income, revenue minus employee income, because actually the income to a business is income to the people who work there and the people who made investments. But we ended up defining the bottom line as the return to capital. She says, look, you could just as easily say there is a way that you organize businesses where the return, the bottom line is the return to the workers, and capital is an input that you consider a cost. And it was just such a really interesting kind of reframing of the map that's embodied in our financial statements, that we take, again, going back to this, we take a financial statement as somehow a representation of reality, when in fact it's a particular description. And she kind of goes in at length about the divine right of kings, where it's really, for 1,000 years, there was this idea that certain people were closer to God. And they actually, as a result of being closer to God, they owned more stuff, and they were supposed to own more stuff. And she kind of goes off on this wonderful thing about, this book of the peerage, where it's sort of like literally the hierarchy of people in the universe and who deserves the most. It's like, and it goes from the king, and then there's the Prince of Wales, and then there's, and on down through all the, down to the lower barons, and then there's the ordinary people. And it's sort of interesting. She says, well, now we have, the Forbes 400, whatever, And it's a really interesting, just little example of somebody throwing out an idea, and then you go, wow, yeah, I can see the world in a whole new way.